Daredevil. This is another Marvel film and comic book film I've been wanting to talk about on my channel for a while. Because this is a movie that I have now rewatching it again, I really have a weird relationship with this film. This is a comic book movie that a lot of fans have mixed reactions on it. A lot of people either love the movie, a lot of people either hate the film, or a lot of people are split on the movie. I used to be one of those people who hated this film. Like when I was younger, I hated Daredevil. I crapped on it 24/7, saying that this is one of the worst comic book films I've ever seen. I crapped on this movie religiously, and I haven't rewatched it ever since then for a few couple of times back in the day. But rewatching the movie last night, the theatrical cut, not the director's cut. I rewatched the theatrical cut from 2003, and I gotta be honest, I still don't like the film, but I don't hate it as much as I used to. Like I said before, this is not a good movie. Daredevil is an average comic book film, but at the same time, there is a good movie in Daredevil. Like, I see the greatness that are thrown into this film, like Ben Affleck's performance as Daredevil. I actually really like his performance as Daredevil. He was a BA, he was awesome. His performance I dug a lot in this film. Even at the time when I hated this film, when I crapped on it, I praised Ben Affleck's performance as Daredevil. And majority of the performance, with the exception of one who I'll talk about later, which you guys probably know, are actually pretty solid. Even Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin, except with the exception when the first time you see him, you pan up to him and the song "I'm an Outlaw" starts playing. I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, the tone in this movie I have a problem with as well. When it comes to my knowledge of the Daredevil character and the lore of Daredevil, I'm not the most knowledgeable on the character of Daredevil, but I am a fan of the character. He is a cool character in the comics and in a Netflix series, which I'm going to talk about sometime later, lead up to Infinity War as well, because I haven't reviewed those shows yet. But anyways, the Daredevil character is one of the probably most interesting characters in comic book history, especially in the Marvel Universe. I need to read more about Daredevil, more about the comics, more about because I obviously know the origin, like, as it gets to his eye, he becomes blind, his father dies, who was a boxer, then he fights for justice and becomes Daredevil, so I know the origin. Of course they show the origin of Daredevil in this movie, Matt Murdock, so yeah, so I know pretty much everything I need to know about the character of Daredevil, and but I do gotta say that, like I said, Ben Affleck portrayed the character very well. He was very intriguing, very intimidating, and Daredevil is almost like Marvel's Batman, which ironically enough, Ben Affleck plays Batman in the DCEU. Huh. Funny how life works. Speaking of actors who played multiple comic book characters, we get to see Jon Favreau in this movie. Happy from Iron Man, who plays Fog, Matt Murdock's best friend, who's also a lawyer like him. And this movie, like I said, rewatching it, I really think that the problem with this film is that it feels rushed at times, and certain things just feels like they're choppy or just cut out, or some things don't really go into place. Like when it comes to the final act, which I get to later. But what I see in this film, like the tone, I don't mind. Well, half of the time I think it's completely absurd, but what I think that would make this film better, I haven't seen a director's cut yet, so I have no opinion on that. So for what I'm gonna say is for someone who haven't seen a director's cut, I feel like what would make the movie more cohesive is that it needs to have its right tone, because I feel like the tone for this movie is all over the place. There are times that this movie is trying to be serious, like the first X-Men film or the first Batman film, and there are times that this movie is trying to be campy and fun, like the first Spider-Man movie. So the tone for this movie is very unbalanced half of the time. Well, like, you could have a comic book movie that could be very serious but with fun moments, and you could have a comic book movie that could be very fun but has serious moments, like the first Spider-Man film, and with a serious tone but fun moments, like the first two Blade films. And I feel like that's the problem with this movie, that the tone is very all over the place and very scattered, and this movie doesn't really have its right tone, which is my biggest problem for this film. I also think that this movie tries too hard to be cool. And what I mean by that is that in mostly every scene in this film, they add in a early 2000s rock song in there, which I'm just like, oh, come on, you don't really need to have that. The soundtrack for this movie is awesome, by the way, because I love me some rock music, especially one from the early 2000s. But when you try to add that in mostly every scene of this movie, it gets distracting at times, and it gives me Suicide Squad flashbacks. Horrible movie, horrible movie. Sorry about that, guy. But anyways, moving on. Let me just get this out the way. I hate Jennifer Gardner as Elektra. I don't buy her as tough. I don't buy her as a BA. I don't buy her as a martial artist. I just don't buy her as Elektra. She seems like a pretty actress who's trying to be tough, just like Jessica Alba in the Fantastic Four movies, and just it's really, I just cannot buy her. I just cannot buy her in this movie. And of course, this was like the start of Jennifer Gardner and Ben Affleck's relationship in this film, because they met on set, and later on they got married, they got to know each other, and all the other good stuff. But they're divorced now. But anyways, not the point. I don't buy her at all in this movie as Elektra. And why, out of all the things, that she get to get her own solo movie? Like, seriously. But that's going to be my next review, so stay tuned for that, guys. But her introduction led to one of the most dumbest scenes in comic book movie history, where her and Matt are fighting in a playground, and it is so bad and terrible. I was laughing my butt off watching that scene last night. I was like, oh my goodness, like, what is the tone of this movie? Are you trying to be silly, or are you trying to be dark and brooding? Like, come on, movie. What are you trying to be? Like, are you trying to be one or the other? Like, you can't be both. You cannot be both. But other than that, that scene is terrible. It's atrocious. I hate that scene. It's one of those scenes that is so bad, it's very laughable, and it's just enjoyable. Just watch that scene and you'll laugh your butt off. Another terribly bad scene in this movie that's so hilarious is that the training montage scene with Elektra and slicing all the sandbags with her side to kill Daredevil, for who she thinks that killed her father, but no, it was really Bullseye. And Bring Me Back to Life by Evanescence is playing in the background. I'm just like, I love this song, but oh my god. And this character got her own solo movie. Like, Jennifer Gardner as Elektra gets her own solo movie. Just Then Elektra gets killed by Bullseye with her size, and to be honest with you, I didn't really care that Elektra died. I mean, we only saw her in this film, and it's not like this like the second or third film. It's not like this is a trilogy where, like, when she dies, all of a sudden I'm supposed to care. And by the way, her relationship with Matt Murdock is very forced in this movie, and just they just need to, like, I know they're like a couple in the comic, but their chemistry just felt very forced, and I didn't buy it at all. And I'm sorry, the final fight scene is kind of lame, like with Daredevil and Kingpin, that Daredevil kick his knees and Kingpin falls down. I'm sorry, I just found that to be very lame, especially as Kingpin is considered to be very strong and bulky. Like, come on now. So overall, guys, I don't hate this movie as much as I used to. It definitely needed some improvement. There are a lot of things in this movie that could have done a lot better, cut out all the stupid stuff, and have a right tone. And I heard that the director's cut is actually really good, and I heard it improves upon the original version that I watched. So I'll probably get the director's cut a shot. But as of right now, I still stand by for my opinion that the theatrical edition of Daredevil is a mediocre film. I'm going to give Daredevil a C-. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and let me know what you think of Daredevil in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for my review of Elektra. Yeah. And if you're new to my channel and you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.